right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Andrew. So that was, again, we started, what, 1:30 p.m.? We went almost an hour, so that wasn't too bad. A little bit less than an hour to do that entire presentation. I'll try to shorten it for next week, or next month, I should say. And welcome, Sir Bailey and Jenny, to this call. Welcome as well, Lowell. I did talk with Lowell briefly earlier when we started, but I'm hoping that either Sir Bailey or Jenny might have a few comments about what they've seen.
Good morning, Lowell. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Lloyd and Ambassador.
Good morning.
And thank you so much. Wonderful information, Mr. Helferty. Looking forward to 2023. Just wanted to, I think I saw an email that question, was wondering if Ms. Carrington, myself, and Mr. Remler would be here. So I assume that there might be important information. I'm actually in a classroom right now. It's an empty classroom, passing period. But yeah, no
well,
information. We'll be doing a recruitment event this Saturday. But I'm also interested if Ms. Carrington or Lowell, just as you folks are the ones on the line, if you're interested in doing something collaboratively on the 24th, I think I have the capacity right now, if there's any ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jenny,
hey guys.
Hello, Jenny.
Well, first, I just want to say, Lloyd, the infrastructure plan that you have built out is so comprehensive. I'm always very impressed at the level of not just detail, but like level of what fractal impact that you're attaining.
That's it, right? Because I had that early on conversation actually years ago with Douglas Jack, and he said, build your network as a fractal. That's how you do it. And he literally said, just think of fractals. Do you know fractals? And I said, yeah, I actually studied the Mandelbrot set when I was a child, young, like a teenager. And I was remember those first computers like Apple II and Commodore PETs. I was actually writing code to display the Mandelbrot set on those early computers.
If then statements, right?
Yeah, it was
10,
those
10,
very
20.
Using like BASIC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's aligned. It's really very impressive, the fractal nature of the build out. I think that it's going to really just fit seamlessly, like the puzzle's not the right analogy, but I don't know how to explain. Like, I'm building a container that has all the exact holes that your content can just fill. So it's it's really very exciting. I do find that the shareability is a little bit overwhelming. Like there's just a lot of content on the slides and a lot of acronyms. It might be helpful to make a glossary of the acronyms so that they don't have to be included on every email. It's a little bit hard to follow, but it's very educational. And I understand, like when I tune in for the whole time, it's like, I understand exactly where you're going with it. And it's like, yes, all of that. And I'm very excited about it. I'm reluctant sometimes to share the content with collaborators of mine because it's very long, a lot of acronyms. So anyone that hasn't been in the network for a while wouldn't follow. So I just want to see how we can make it a little bit more digestible to people because it's so freaking good. You know, it's so rich and it's so good, and it's exactly what's needed, and it's exactly where the funding is going to be going. So, you know, I'm in touch with people who are now at the World Economic Forum, and our PR rep, Carla, who Andrew met, is in LA, you know, following the pipelines of California money and Biden's initiatives. And it's everything that is, you know, we've got the competitive edge, and we've got the, you know, the substantive solutions, you know, both really. So yeah, I have mostly nothing but good things. I think it was very informative, and I am glad I joined. And oh, I know what I wanted to say. The calendar was great. The calendar was so good. And literally, as I was joining this call, I'm on our Earth Club back end of our website here, and was thinking, okay, I need to, you know, we're going to have 12 webinars, or maybe 24, 1 or 2 each month, that we need to set out in advance for people who are joining the Earth Club. And then we also want to share a calendar of events. So I think your calendar of events is perfect timing.
It's not finished, by the way. I didn't put all the events throughout the year there, but I wanted to put at least those key events, the ones in red that would allow us to sort of put it into our heads what's coming up. So that was just done actually in Excel. I found a template for that and then popped it in Excel and then put our own events and put nice colors.
Yeah, no, looked great. And I still just want to get you in touch with Emmanuel as soon as possible regarding the intersection between what you're doing and Trema Agro Services and Mother Earth. That triple kind of coordination, I think, is timely. So whenever you're available to schedule that call. And then, yeah, Sir Bailey, it's been a while. Would love to drop in with you too, kind of about the Earth Tunes stuff, and see where we're at with the song and things like that.
And I did want to mention as well. I did briefly mention it on the WhatsApp chat yesterday, but I did spend what was it, from about 1:30 p.m. or 2 p.m. or so around until 8 p.m. on Sunday. It was a 6-hour long discussion I had with this gentleman. His name is Prashant Singh. He's from India originally, but he's very interested in setting up something here in GTA as a something similar to what Aubrey's doing in BC in terms of showcasing and demonstrating these solar roof solutions here and helping to build that PodNet GTA organization. So creating supply lines and partnerships with other local manufacturers so we can showcase those solutions here, help to do the Bubble Fun festivals and all that stuff. So we have that infrastructure manufacturer here. So he wants to have, I think that's a good follow-up discussion for us to have as well. Especially I think with the rest of the PodNet team, because he would like to move forward on that. He was at the end of our long conversation. He was pretty excited to see if he could be that person coordinating the entire Greater Toronto area to help with that, especially as we build up partnerships with our local schools.
That's great news. Definitely, as much as possible, share visuals in the process. Give thanks for that.
Well, this is what I also did, of course, is send him the videos, the Solar Village and the channel. I also shared it, of course, on our chat today, in the chat there, so people can have access to that, because that visualization, I think, is extremely important. Which is, again, I think why Michael Rendler is so important, because when I had a talk with Jim Jones, who, by the way, Jim Jones was a high-level person, one of the people at IBM Canada. So he really wants to leverage IoT, Internet of Things technologies and solutions. He wants to showcase and demonstrate driverless vehicles. He wants to showcase a number of different automation systems. And so the idea of being able to fly a drone over the city of Markham, like they did, like Michael has done in Los Angeles, and then getting those young people to hack their 3D environments in virtual reality and showcase what the city of Markham and York region in this case, because he is Jim Jones is the regional counselor for all of York region, which is Markham, Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and 7 municipalities. So he said, yes, let's absolutely use all the best IoT tools and all the best visualization tools. And he's the one that mentioned that to me. He said, whatever you have available, let's use those solutions because they're there. We can work hopefully directly with IBM because Markham has that partnership with IBM.
Then maybe perhaps, Lloyd, you want to consider introducing Jim to Michael through an email and get the party started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I that's another follow-up action item I can take. And actually, I did mention that to him. I said I'm gonna slowly introduce you to some key members of this development team that we have, especially I think through the C4 group.
That Michael would be the one.
Mm-hmm.
Lowell, the architect, are you in California?
No, sir. I'm in Toronto.
Toronto, more Canada.
Yes, by Markham.
Indeed. And then
Yeah,
do you,
Lowell's a member of Drawdown Markham as well. So
does that, do you work with the youth in Toronto?
Sorry?
Do you work with young people in Toronto?
You know, I've been trying to reach out to young people and people in my ethnic Chinese community, and also applying for grants. I do these kind of low-tech, low-cost, repurpose, upcycled material designs for backyards and grow lights and indoors, you know, connected to the cause of urban agriculture. But I'm not getting much response. And if I can say, just comment on this, some of the Markham things that were going on. You just from, you know, my response, not get the lack of, you know, interest in what I do, and I feel like it's connected to kind of this high tech, you know, culture that we. And that's why people are not responding. And you know, the climate scientists and the activists that I follow, they wouldn't point to that that high tech is there's a cost to it. There's I mean, it takes natural gas. It takes to make things like that, right? So. You know, plastics and all this, and and then, you know, I didn't want to bring up this natural gas topic, but I think we have to talk about it though, because the climate scientists, I mean, the authors is very clear. I mean, it's the burning of fossil fuels, right? So unless we, so I'm just a little,
it's disheartening, obviously.
I
Right?
appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate the transparency.
Yeah, thanks.
Well,
Thanks.
Okay.
We'll try to touch base later. Thanks.
Yeah. So
Please.
actually, this is part of the conversation I had with this gentleman, Prashant, on Sunday. Was we had a sort of a long conversation about where are we going in terms of achieving these net zero, so-called, and can we actually achieve drawdown within our lifetimes? think most people here are not that young. But even our own children and grandchildren, will they be able to achieve drawdown? Will they be able to achieve net zero? Can we actually achieve net zero? And I think the goal of 1.5 degrees is already in the rear view mirror. Many scientists, those climate scientists, are saying no, it's already passed. We're already headed toward at least 2, if not 2.2. I think I read somewhere recently. We're already locked in, and so pretty much no matter what we do, and at the rate we're burning fossil fuels, I think we're probably more likely headed toward something like 3 or 4 or perhaps even 5 by 2100, within the next century or so. And so it's likely that our only trajectory now is adaptation. So all of these solutions we're discussing, of course, are about adaptation. Especially, I think, the controlled environment solutions, plus even those forests, the food forests we're talking about, because conventional agriculture will not cut it. It won't be able to survive this.
Are you saying that the $130,000 electric Benz is not going to be the solution?
Yeah.
Oh, darn it. Oh, darn it. Oh, darn it.
Yeah, no, these
I
solutions.
I don't need that. I don't need that.
That's another thing I was
Ms.
thinking
Carrington,
about, though, right?
are you back in California? And what do you look like for Saturday?
Jenny, that was a question for you.
Oh, sorry.
Are you still out of the country?
I am in Greece, probably.
Right on.
Well, I might be going to Africa to go see Emmanuel at some point.
Beautiful.
But
What's the weather like in Greece?
global warming.
I heard that some places in Europe were so warm, they actually got a break, because obviously with the war in Ukraine, everybody was predicting that they were going to freeze over the winter, and that because there wouldn't be enough natural gas to heat the buildings for if it was a cold winter. So, but they've been able to maintain storage in Europe and the natural gas supplies, just because it's so warm, that they're not using it to heat all the buildings.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's places like Germany, though. Like they started that passive house movement like for 20 years, and so all that new construction is like very energy efficient. And then, like, I think that I don't know. So I'm not sure. It's
Well, in a way, I think the trajectory we're going to take here in Canada is that, yes, we will use those energy resources we have, those oil sands and the natural gas, but we need to direct it as much as possible to retrofitting our communities. And this is what we need to be part of to implement these solutions. So it will take absolutely a heck of a lot of energy to repurpose our communities to be net zero. But it'll take a lot of energy to do that. So, because we've got to reimagine entire communities of single household bungalow dwellings that are spread across the landscape, just as most of these communities here in North America are built that way. So up here it's worse, of course, because it gets quite a bit colder. So we are using more natural gas per unit of living space. So what I also found just over the weekend, and I'm putting it to the chat here. So this, you'll see a website, yourvoicemarkham.ca, and this was actually sent to me by one of the members of Drawdown Markham. Just I think just yesterday, actually. And so this is a map or a mapping tool that's online for a particular community in Markham. So this is now how the city of Markham is planning changes and planning and involving the community in understanding the intricate details of the local. So you'll see on this web link, there is a dynamic Google map where you can actually, as a resident of the community, go in there and click different features in your local neighborhood that you would like to comment upon and change, maybe improve, make some changes to them. So I think with this combination of the visualization tools plus the mapping, we have some very powerful ways of doing this. And I'm fairly certain that this map and this mapping tool that was created by the city of Markham, this yourvoicemarkham.ca, was most likely created through their partnership with IBM, where they now got a big data center and coders to create this kind of mapping tool that allows community members to go in and actually make those comments and make those suggestions and make those changes and feedback that where we can now, let's say, I'm looking at Lowell's project of doing the water barrels for homes. Where we can now say, look, here's a way we can interact and promote this type of even low tech stuff, because it doesn't necessarily need to be the high tech stuff that we're implementing. Which is part of the reason why we want to establish that eco-village center of excellence, to say, can we repurpose in ways that are quite a bit different than just going the high-tech route?
Yes,
there are other solutions that we can do in terms of achieving the efficiencies we need. So go ahead, Lowell.
Thanks. I just thought of something smart to say, I guess. But the yeah, it's about encouraging a culture, right? Not just like do a beautiful architectural project, and it's not so much about that anymore, right? Like it's about creating a culture that people will supporting the culture of growing local food and things like that, right? Like having and like everybody composting at home, and like encouraging that kind of culture, and it should be supported by the municipal governments.
Mm-hmm. Which is exactly why we are working with the municipal governments, but not just them. We're creating these multi-stakeholder partnerships who can come together. So it's not just the so-called leaders, it's other types of leaders in our community. It's not just those elected leaders. It's the Rotary clubs. It's the Arts Council. It's the youth clubs at the schools. It's all of them hopefully coming in with a single voice and saying, okay, we need to achieve net zero. How do we actually do that here in our communities at the local level? Like if you look at that website, this is a map showing the actual it's the existing mall. Like how can we repurpose that mall to actually achieve like Markville Mall? How can that go net zero? Like that's an existing structure. We're not going to tear it down. We're not going to build brand new. We've got to repurpose that as a net zero building. How do we do that? So let's have that conversation. And you can't have that conversation unless everybody's sort of sitting at the table. You need the architects, you need the city planners, you need the people that are there in the local community and say, okay, looking at that mall, how do we repurpose this so it doesn't use natural gas? Right? That's a huge challenge in existing infrastructure. And they've pledged that we're going to get to that net zero by 2050. So we have about 27 years to get there. and the UN through that, as I mentioned earlier about the mandates, if you say you're going to get to net zero, well, you got to do it, and it's got to be financed, and they will finance. That's the idea here, and Jenny mentioned it briefly, right? And I mentioned it, of course, as well. Is that if you've got a plan if you say we're going to get to net zero and you've got a plan and you've got the partners and it's all ready and it's established, that you've got the plan and the partners and you know how you're going to do it, you will get the finance to make it happen. Because that net zero finance initiative, right, is trillions of dollars of capital that's waiting to be leveraged. I think the number was what, 80 trillion, right? It's not a small amount, and through of course the way things are financed today is through fractional financing systems. But of course, we want to direct a lot of that money back into a regenerative financing system, the REFI, where we can now reinvest back into our own local communities through these INAB collaboratives. And so that is the challenge, is to also, and that's what we're trying to do with our UniNet network, is also structure it in a way that allows a lot of this sort of degenerative capital that's going into currently going into the degenerative economy to be recycled back into supporting all of those organizations that make our neighborhoods vibrant and fun to be in. And that's without those cultural organizations and everything, we don't want it to be just ants working away and working all our lives and having no fun. This whole transition needs to be a fun affair, as much as possible anyway, if we can do so.
Well, you're
So
saying
I'm-
all the right things, Lloyd.
Well, right. I'm learning from the best, right? You're one of the best there, Jenny, in terms of the wording we need. Like I now listen to, for instance, this morning I was listening on the radio about there's a big debate about our healthcare system here in Canada and the things that are wrong with it and how we might be able to fix it. So there's a big conversation here in the province of Ontario about how our healthcare needs to have more private sector inputs and more private clinics to take care of a lot of the backlog that was caused, especially by COVID-19 over the past couple of years, where elective surgeries, in many cases like cataracts and all sorts of like knee surgeries and stuff like that, were all put on hold, and now they're clogging up the system. But at the hospitals, so we need a way of implementing those solutions, but still within the context of the single payer system. So there's a big debate right now. The provincial government and the premier is planning to open up a lot more private health clinics that are for profit, but would still be financed through the single payer system. So that's an ongoing conversation. But I heard the head of the hospital system in Toronto talking about how we need to create, and the wording he was using, we need to create more options for consumers. And that really took me aback, because I'm not used to using those terminologies anymore, because it really just is, it's to me against what we're trying to achieve here. We call people consumers rather than citizens. And so that kind of terminology, I think, the dialogues, the way we talk about ourselves, even as consumers rather than citizens, really that framing is very important in changing the way we frame our conversations. And I think,
sorry, Lord, just wanted to say that. But like, I guess I wanted to say that first, maybe, like it's how it's regulated, right? Like, I think if the public healthcare system is not working, then the private might be an option. But it's all about how it's regulated. But anyways, so, and then the other thing is, but in Canada, aren't you? I'm almost, I can say, so disillusioned in a way, because it's like this change is so slow, and everything that we Greta just got she's like arrested, I think,
Huh?
at the German where there's a mine that they're this like a vacant village. That anyways, all right. You know, guys, what I know. I mean, okay.
So much, yeah, so much of our world's dilapidated and vacant, and just needs our love and attention back. I have to run, family.
Thanks.
Please reach out, Jenny, and let me know what you like to do, and Laura.
Okay, what is your link
Yeah.
there, Sir Bailey?
Say that one more time, Laura.
You did the link? Do you have a?
Everybody,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I'll send it to
noticing
you
that
right
I'm unable to save the chat today for some reason. Not sure how to change that, if I can change that. Oh,
I'm
yeah,
putting
okay,
it
there's
into the chat now, Laura. You can reach out.
no, okay, all right. I was able to save the chat after.
Introduce
Okay.
you. I feel like what you're doing,
All right.
it would be good for us
put
to
my email.
dialogue around the hip hop architect,
Oh, cool.
and
Mhm.
some of the fun ways to build stuff together. Again, I'll reach out to everyone online via an email with an idea for, I think, International Education Day would be a good day to celebrate the work we've done and what we will do.
Absolutely. So I will be looking for that. And as I said, I want to also introduce everybody to Prashant, who I had the meeting with on Sunday. He is very interested in setting up the PodNet GTA and again, establishing an enterprise here to contribute to the PodNet solutions and build an enterprise network here. So we'll probably end up our call today
Thanks.
within a few moments. So everybody should save the chat, three little dots at the bottom. And we'll have this discussion again, of course, next month in February, third Tuesday of the month. And in the meantime, we are still actually building this network of networks, our UnityNet network, so we can bring all of our professionals on, especially. So there's a LinkedIn network that we have now many people who are wanting to join, but we do need hopefully to get this organized so that we can eventually launch it over and get recognized by the main actors who are making those decisions in our local communities. And my fingers are crossed that Jim Jones will say, yeah, okay, let's have a meeting. Once we meet with Michael Rendler, let's have a meeting with the rest of the council, not just Markham Council, but York Region Council, which is all 7 municipalities. And let's also meet with IBM, and let's also meet with blah, 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 blah. And let's plan this out, because he wants this to be as a legacy project, that east-west transit system with the 16 transit hubs. So that's high-tech stuff, very energy intensive, but we do also want the Eco-Village Center of Excellence to be one
Well,
of
as
the
much
projects.
information as you have that you can make available to Michael, the better he'll be able to reply.
Okay. So again, I will, that's one of my action items is to follow up, to introduce Jim to Michael. Okay, so thank you, Andrew, and we will see you on Thursday.
Okay,
All
thank you.
right. All right. Thanks, everyone.